And for the next 200 years, Jews everywhere around Europe and in the United States would be a part of social movements that aimed to erase differences between groups and allow and welcome the weak, the poor, the disenfranchised into a coalition that accepts everyone. We see it not only in the involvement of Jews in the Marxist Bolshevik movement. We also see it in Hollywood. One of my favorite chapters is about Jews in Hollywood. Frankenstein, Superman, X-Men, they all tell the same story. There is the other who is not accepted, who is persecuted by the majority, and the superhero brings everybody together. This is where Reformation not only allowed Jews to abandon their uniqueness and join the majority group, but it brings them into a political social movement as well. And we'll see how it manifests in many ways. On the other hand, we have the second tribe, the Jews who did not come to the United States, the Jews who did not take the emancipation deal, the Jews who lived in Iraq and in Yemen and in Eastern Europe, who were not offered the welcome deal of emancipation. They stayed in the Jewish ghettos. They did not abandon their traditions, their tradition life, and their religion, and where the relationship between nation and religion never broke. This will bring to many differences between American Jews and Israeli Jews 100 years later, and would be the source of attention and contention between the two groups. So our book, in many ways, identifies how these differences in the relationship with the outside world affects the relationship between the two groups and the way they answer several questions. How do we see ourselves as Jews? How we pray, how we vote, and how we interact and view others. I want to start off with the fact that I love the United States. God bless America. This is the only nation I know of, and I'm sure somebody can think of other examples, but I don't know of any other examples of a nation where anti-Semitism was never institutionalized. Sure, there's discrimination against the Jews, back in the day. We talk about it in the Hollywood chapter, but it didn't come from the government, right? And there was discrimination against the Irish and the Polish, right? Italians. So in America, in the United States, Jews have been more welcome than any other place on earth, right? Besides Israel. Americans are, we have a chapter, as American as apple pie. Think about during lunch, we spoke about how a bagel is an American food, right? And every grandma from Minnesota, right, knows what a schwitz is, or oi, and Yiddish is a part of American culture. American Jews have been welcomed to the highest places in American finance, entertainment, law, government. But the ultimate test is, think about how many recent presidents had children who married a Jewish person. Isn't that the ultimate test of discrimination or none? If you let your own son or daughter marry somebody from the Jewish community, you obviously have no problem with that group. So America has been a blessing to the Jewish people, but in our book we argue that this welcome, this blessing, represents some long-term threats and dangers. So let's begin. We'll do it quickly. First, let's talk about museums. I don't want to distract you from my talk, but I want you to recognize that you're not in just the Center for Jewish Studies here, or Center for Israel, right? You are literally, look around, you're in a museum right now. You are, look behind you, some of the most incredible art I've seen in my life on the back wall about the Holocaust. Museums are important because they explain how a nation or a people tell the story of who we are. And I want to compare for a second Israeli museums versus American Jewish museums. So I'll give you examples. In Israel, Jewish museums, right, are inward looking. They are uniquely Jewish expressions and experiences. So how many of you have been to a Jewish museum in Israel? Many of you, right? You see, here's evidence of the connection between the people of the land from 3,000 years ago. Here are the scrolls. Here's a coin from the days of Saul, King David, right? The connection between the people and the land. We tell our story to ourselves and nobody else. There is no intention to explain our history to the outsider, but rather to celebrate our heritage and provide archaeological and visual manifestations of the story of the Jewish people in the land of Israel. In the United States, American Jewish museums, and I'm sure there are exceptions, tell the story of the Jews in a very different way. Rather than looking inward to explain this is the story of the Jewish people, American Jews who live amongst Gentiles tell the story of the Jews not as a testament to their history dating back thousands of years, but as a way to further integrate with society and build coalitions. Here is the website of Florida International University's Jewish museum over there, where they say our exhibitions illustrate the richness and diversity of Jewish life and the unique ways in which Florida Jews influenced by the historic and cultural dynamics of Florida, the nation, and the world, right? So it's not like, here's our story. It's like, here's our story as it relates to other people. Above it, it says, we cover topics related to themes of multicultural audiences, right? So again, we're attracting a wide cross-section of visitors. Here's another exhibit from a different university where they take a Holocaust wagon and they move it all around, and they do exhibitions all around the United States. And it's not the story of the Jews who were slaughtered in Auschwitz. It's, here's the lessons we should learn about hate in general in society. So again, what we see is the story of the Jews intertwine with the story of the other. And that is a completely different approach in how you tell your story, view your story, and view yourself in the context as expressed in the museums. Let's move to the next, because we have so much to cover. I'm just giving you tiny bites of everything, and you'll see it in the book when you read it, if you read it. There is something uniquely problematic with the Jewish religion. So if emancipation is all about saying we're all the same, right? Yeah, I'm Jewish, or he's Protestant, he's Catholic, but we're all Dutch, no problem. But the Jewish faith will not allow this form of modern thinking, because in the Bible, it is clear and beyond any argument that the Jewish people are the chosen people of God. The prayer books, the history, like everything is about the fact that we are unlike everybody else. We are distinct. We are unique. We are the chosen people. Am Zevula. Wow, this is going to become very complicated very soon when it comes to religious life.